What is up, everybody? We are back for another edition of Around the Hoot, our pre-Stage 3 edition. As always, I'm your host, Wyatt, and we've got with us Noah, Travis, and Christiaan, as always. How are you guys doing today? Anything special that you're feeling, or you just a normal day? Anybody. This is open to the whole congregation.
So should we all start talking at once?
Do it. Everyone at once. How are you feeling?
Call of Duty Championships.
Wow.
Okay, I actually watched Call of Duty Championships. They were pretty hype.
Yeah, this week one is pretty good because the Splice crowd, it was in Britain. So, it was all the hometown people, hyping and gassing, all the teams up, all the British teams, and then booing every single American team. It was great.
I just saw Optic lose on stream and I was happy.
Oh, they always lose. They rarely.
I think it's actually trash these days, honestly.
Yeah, have you seen Houston?
They're not as bad as Houston. They always get 4th or 5th, except that one time.
Except the one time.
Yeah, I was like pretty sure in Dallas they were 12th or 8th.
Yeah, they were 12th or 16th.
Dude, it's such a joke. Holy shit.
Yeah,
it's sad boy time.
All right, so with our thrilling talk out the way, let's talk about some Overwatch League. So we've got quite a bit of news to go through. I will go ahead and pass it over to our EGN's own slasher, Travis over here. He will break down all of the news and unconfirmed and confirmed and all that good stuff for us. What do you got going on?
Dude, I just want to become best friends with Rod and figure out his sources because I live for this shit. So the trade window closes tonight, I believe, at 11:59 Pacific time. So there's definitely still time for people to get some great trades and acquisitions in and selling contracts and stuff.
Valiant, come on, do something.
I have a feeling Dallas is going to blow up too tonight.
I doubt it.
You could trade Siegel. It's gonna be like Siegel for cash consideration. Actually, no, it's huge.
They couldn't trade Siegel. They couldn't trade Siegel.
That's so sad.
Yikes.
That's so sad.
Yeah. So, I guess I should put.
Get rid of me. Sorry, we can't. We literally can't. Nobody wants you. Oh no.
Siegel,
just go ahead and add that.
I just feel bad for him. Just
that's so fucking.
He's like, I want to trade. You guys aren't playing me enough, and they're like, no one wants you. Fuck.
Okay, there's also his bio is apparently enormous, so it's nobody wants to pay that much for you.
I was gonna say
fair.
it's not quite that simple.
It's also that though. Let's be kind of real here.
Sure. Well, but at the same time, it's that nobody wants to pay the price that Dallas is asking for him.
Why are they asking for that much for Siegel? What?
Well, didn't they pay a lot for Siegel in the first place?
I'm sure they did.
Because he was a big streamer beforehand and a big competitive streamer. And now that's how Sinatra get a shitload of money too.
Well, that and World Cup. Siegel wasn't. When Siegel was in charge of making Team USA's World Cup team, we got fucking shit on.
Well, they try to bank on Siegel's fans, it seemed for Dallas.
Which they do.
That didn't work.
But then it backfired by Dallas being
the
They were like, let's pick up the guys with the biggest fans. Then we'll have a huge fan base, and then we'll just get rid of all the guys, and then hopefully they'll stick with us.
I don't think they expected XQC to flame out in the second stage, but alas, it is what it is. So do you have news or?
Yeah. Look at that! I just want to point out that Noah was the first QC. Just wanted to.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. You want a medal?
No, you normally ain't talking about it.
I guess we'll.
Yeah, because I don't have to anymore. Then I'll do it.
Bro, just wait till the World Cup. Bunny has joined the Valiant. So the Los Angeles Valiant has acquired Bunny's contract from the Soul Dynasty. We have recently switched to beat writing coverage, so we have our LA Valiant and our Soul Dynasty guys right here on the cast. So guys, what do you think about this move?
I think this is a pretty decent move for Soul, all things considered. You bring in Bunny when you want a tracer specialist who is very independent, right? Bunny is literally a tracer one trick. And while it's, Bunny could probably play other things, he is most famous for his tracer. Munchkin has been performing very well as of late, So I can understand why Seoul wants to, not only give Bunny some extra playing time, but free up a roster spot. Who knows? Maybe they see another area where they might need backup. Potentially bringing in a new tracer they can try and cultivate from Korea, maybe a new DPS player, maybe even a new flex support to learn from Ryu Jae-hong. Because I know they have Guido, but Guido plays literally every position, so he doesn't count. Overall, I think Bunny is a good player. He just wasn't what the Seoul Dynasty needs. Bunny's an incredibly talented and individual player. Let me just say this. He's the best tracer player that Seoul had in terms of playing solo queue. There we go.
Wyatt, how do you feel how this move worked out for the Valiant?
I mean, it's just it's a weird move for me because I really he's a good tracer, but you also have Soon on the roster still, and I guess this kind of shows that they aren't counting on having Soon for very much longer, or at least if they still have him, they're not going to utilize him that much. While Soon can play other things, he most recently was known for his tracer play, so. I guess you're getting an upgrade there, but at the same time, it just feels this. In addition to the other moves, it's like, what in the hell is this team doing? It's just super, super confusing, honestly. I mean, we'll talk about some of the other moves later, but it's just
plenty of Valiant news coming up.
It's just confusing. I mean, I think in terms of just strictly from a gameplay standpoint, whether or not he's an upgrade. I think Bunny probably is an upgrade just from a tracer standpoint because he is a good tracer. But in terms of the team, is just where it gets a little bit more rocky for me. Because
there's a lot of stuff.
Switching away from the Valiant just for a hot minute, we have Animo joining the New York Excelsior, and I know that I believe that Noah has some opinions on that, but Christian is our resident New York guy. So Christian, what do you think about this acquisition?
I'll admit I'm a little confused by it because you have Ark and Jujonak. Who's Amana gonna fill in for there? It's you have two of the best support players in the world. I guess you can give Ark a break. No, you have your hand up now.
Yeah, thank you. Remember when Ark broke his hand and they had to play Mono as their main support?
Yeah, briefly.
This is their solution to that particular problem.
Yeah, he definitely feels like a bench warmer player. In case something disastrous goes on.
He's not even that bad. He is a good Lucio player, so maybe we see him on Lucio maps. Maybe I doubt it, but he's a better Lucio. He's probably a better Lucio than Ark.
Oh yeah, for sure. Ark's mainly a Mercy.
Oh no, that's actually unfair to say. Adamos, he's a bench warmer. Sorry, Ark. don't hate me.
But yeah, it's not a bad buy, but it's also it's definitely a buy just to kind of. He's a safety net.
Yep.
All right, moving.
So they don't have to have a tank play main support.
Moving right back to the Los Angeles Valiant. The LA Valiant and the Dallas Fuel have agreed to trade support players. The Dallas Fuel give up Custa, and in exchange they get Unko from the Los Angeles Valiant. As I am the Texas beat writer here.
Yeehaw.
Yeah. It's kind of a win for Dallas in that they're getting a strictly better Zenyatta player than Custa, but apparently Custa was largely a big voice on the team, especially in game. And when Kai was asked about, oh hey, well who's going to be your in-game voice now? His answer was OGE.
Who, just to remind you guys, is still suspended.
He's not only still suspended, but he is also native Korean and doesn't speak English that well.
And just to let you know, most of the Dallas team is not Korean. So just piecing all these parts together for you guys.
Yeah. So
woo!
That siren you heard in the background was for the Dallas Fuel.
The dumpster is on fire. They need help putting it out.
I mean, I like the move. I think it, I like French players for some reason or another. But I mean, we'll see if it comes of anything, if anything comes of this. Again, just after acquiring AKM and acquiring OGE and switching Seagull to off tank and Mickey to main, it's just there's so many changes that they can make that things could go so well, but at the same exact time you could have things just continue to go horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Wyatt, how do you feel about getting Custa for the Valiant?
I think at first I was a little bit confused as Noah goes to get his food.
That's a behind the scenes secret.
But yeah, so at first I was a little confused because I was like, okay, Unko is probably your best support player, or at least one of your best. So it was a little weird, and I was like, all right, and Custa hasn't really played that much for the fuel. But then, like we've heard in the last couple of days, even Mickey said on his stream that Custa is a huge leadership. He fills a huge leadership role, or he did for the fuel. And Mickey even said he was like, I don't really know why we traded him. So clearly, Custa was a very big shot calling, just leadership presence for the team. So with that in mind, I think that is a good move for the Valiant because just from things that we've heard with the team, the internal issues that we've seen with the French players and the other people on the roster that we've seen on the reality show and all that kind of stuff. So clearly this is a team that needs a little bit of leadership. So I think in that sense, it probably is good because that way you get a shot calling presence that can hopefully help. I mean, he is in terms of skill, he is not as good as Unko, but I think the Valiant are hoping they're at least hedging their bets that his leadership presence will be a bigger factor and it'll help somehow give them some semblance of the stroke of greatness they had back in stage 1.
Yeah, and I mean, you kind of brought up Mickey there, talking about like, I have no idea why we traded Custa. He was such a huge voice on the team. Coming from Dota, I can really appreciate that it's kind of like the fuel is saying we are making executive decisions about this team because we know enough to be able to make changes to this team, and you are a professional and you will work with whoever we bring in, which is just, it's so wonderful compared to where in Dota, like as a manager, it's a different scene and I recognize it's part of my job and I'm not railing on my guys for making me do this, but it's kind of like I came in and then 4 days later they were like, hey, we don't feel like this person should be a part of the team anymore and we need you to tell them.
Yeah, it feels like I'm glad because I've heard a lot of people, players running the team, and it's like that's only going to get you so far. Like if you're going to run your team, if you're going to be successful, and I think what an Overwatch team needs, in order to be successful, they need to run themselves more like actual sports teams where the GMs don't give a shit if you like whoever you're playing with. I mean, sure, you don't want people to hate each other, but it's up if they think this is a good move, they're going to make the move, and you just have to deal with it.
There's a fine line there because you could end up in like sure, it'd be so nice to have the T.O. crying moment of, that's my quarterback. But at the same time, you also don't want, I think, was it Muhammad Wilkerson? I don't remember. Somebody punched Geno Smith in the face and
broke his jaw in preseason.
That's not, like, it's okay if people don't like each other, but like, let's avoid that scenario.
Yeah, like it's fine to have like some, like, oh, that guy's kind of a dick sometimes, but like, okay, whatever. But like you said, you don't want people just like, oh shit, they're literally fighting in the locker room right now. Like that's not what you want.
I was gonna say, as bad as Dallas got, and as bad probably as any team has gotten, they've never been somebody got into a physical altercation.
That's true.
Like if they're if there had been something where it's just like, yeah, Coco just fucking broke XQC's wrist with his keyboard, like that would have been it. That it's like this isn't a team anymore. Just
Can you imagine it?
Back it up.
We're done, boys. It was our OWL time was fun while it lasted, but we're done.
Jesus. So let's see. Moving right back on, to the Los Angeles Valiant. They released Envy. And they tried to trade him. They tried to trade him to, I think it was
Seoul.
Dallas.
I think Dallas and Seoul.
It might have been someone else, too.
Or was it San Francisco? I forget.
Yeah.
It wasn't San. I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
Let me see. I can pull it. I wrote it on that one.
Are we still talking about the Valiant?
No, we're talking about.
We've
now
come
we are.
back to the Valiant.
God, okay, I'm glad I didn't miss anything.
It was the Fuel and the Dynasty, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. But what does that say about him that they couldn't trade a player that many regard him as a really good off tank and possibly like one of the more underrated players on the Valiant?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Envy. No, we're talking about Envy.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Dallas. I'm sorry.
That was.
It's like Singles is not one of the whole low. Anyways, yeah. Believe again.
No, Envy. Yeah, I think that. I think people were kind of talking about when the news first came out. Like he has to be pretty toxic. I mean, this is all speculation and we don't know, but he was probably one of their best players throughout all of stage 1 and 2.
Yep.
And to just unceremoniously kind of kick him out the door and not be able to give him to Dallas of all teams that is looking for that kind of is trying to fill that role and get their tank situation figured out, to not even offload him to that has to show that like he's probably like if the Dallas Fuel don't want you, like come on.
Seagull is almost an upgrade over Mickey,
face.
and Seagull's been playing the position for 10 minutes.
Mickey's been playing off tank with his face all season, but we don't want Envy. Get that out of here.
Well, he's Korean, and Kai, and there's a workplace environment, and Kai apparently doesn't want the Korean environment enforced on his players.
Well, it's funny because that's kind of what Envy talked about. He released a statement on his Twitter that talked about where he feels there was a misunderstanding between himself and the Valiant, where he's like, I came into this with a very Korean mindset of we're here to win and we're here to, compete for like the top spots. And he was like, so I would get really angry at, our results and things like that.
Everything was Korean up until I would get really angry.
I was like, I'm pretty sure they don't like sit there and flame their teammates when you're like, what the fuck are you doing, Agility?
This is coming from him.
Alright, yeah.
But
remember that time you popped off at the Five Guys and fucking the bench someone when they fucked up?
So
remember you strangled somebody on stage that one time. You're so upset.
We'll see what happens.
Do you remember when Sabiolby took Pine back out to the woodshed to the Arby's? And
Sabiolby of all people.
We'll see. We'll see if Envy ends up on a team like he wants to. It's just hard for me to imagine that a team is that much in.
Remember when Jack took Fisher to Long John Silver's and released him? It's my favorite. I'm sorry.
No, it's just memeing at this point.
They ruined In and Out. It's over.
We already talked about Seagull. Again, more Valiant news. Grim Realities has moved to assistant coach instead of an active position.
Good for him.
Good for him. He hadn't played at all since the preseason, so like, got to do something. And I like in the press release they mentioned that one of his roles is going to be like a liaison between the players and the management. And that could be something that this team needs because, again, like I said earlier, it seems like they're lacking leadership and direction. So having him kind of bridge that gap could be a help for them.
Seems like a good role to have in an organization.
Yep.
The Gladiators have acquired Silk Thread's contract from the Los Angeles Valiant.
I mean, he wasn't playing for the Valiant, but good for him. He'll probably get it'll be interesting to see how he slots in with the Gladiators. Because I wonder if he'll go over, like, if it would be between him and Surefour for because you're not going to sit hydration, so.
No, I would imagine that it would be between him and Surefour.
Yeah, so that would be an interesting development to watch, I think.
I like this move. I think it makes the Gladiators an even more powerful team, just because I do think Silk Thread is definitely a talented DPS player who started not to get a fair shake whenever the Valiant brought in their new coach and Karuk was all in the DPS for whatever reason. But I'm happy to see this move. Who's our Gladiator person in the office?
Tyson.
Gotcha. And then the final bit of actual news that is not possibly a rumor. So Flowers joining of XL2 means that prior to season 2, he will be a restricted free agent. And for any of you who don't follow sports, who don't necessarily know what that means, it means that the New York Excelsior essentially have right of first denial if anybody wants to come for Flowers. If for whatever reason, say the Los Angeles Valiant come out and are like, yo, we're going to give this guy $2 million for 1 year to play for us, New York Excelsior can say, no, we're going to give him $2 million, and Flower goes and signs with New York.
Yeah, I think that's interesting that being signed for the academy team puts you, because I guess the academy teams just work a lot differently than kind of we thought they were.
Well, here's the thing that made me wonder is, does this have some kind of carryover to the regular Overwatch League teams? Because I'm not, as much as I'm about trade news, I'm not trying to have a Dota 2 post-TI roster swap period. I don't want everybody to just suddenly be
roster mania is the best part of esports. What are you talking about?
I feel like if this is any indication, because especially if because by that point we'll have had 6 months of contenders and seeing how people play. You imagine a lot of people are going to be like, oh, let's kind of fill up our roster a little bit. And if every single player is a fucking restricted free agent, there's going to be so much willing.
Here's the thing. If it's restricted, I'm fine. I could be okay with that. I could be okay with everybody as a restricted free agent. Your current team, they can match an offer and keep you. That's okay. But if everybody's just unrestricted and you can just dump roster and move on to a whole set of new players.
Yeah,
think about how scary that is, especially for successful teams, because it's kind of if that's actually the case, if they're all unrestricted free agents, it's Sabiolbi went to the Seoul Dynasty, so,
Well, I mean, the fact that, clearly they only have 1-year contracts at this point,
that's scary. And I'm also, it could be an opportunity for, at the end of season 1, we might see a lot of, the New York Excelsior have signed Jonak to a 3-year extension.
Yeah.
So, if anybody from Blizzard happens to be watching, I would like answers. Or if anybody else happens to know the answer, it's out there, and I just am too stupid to find it.
Feels bad.
Please let me.
I mean, if we had some bigger rule books or something,
Don't even get me.
Grumble something rule book,
Okay, so moving on to some of the rumors obviously here on the show, like, yeah, we like rumors, we like unconfirmed reports, but at the same time, we try to
live
pick
for
out
that
the
shit.
ones that are reasonable.
Yeah.
Like,
Instead of just everything under the sun.
sure. Like, nobody's gonna believe that Fleta has been traded to the Dallas Fuel. Like, it wouldn't happen in.
You heard it here first, guys. Go tweet about it.
Custom
At
remote
Rafi Dota
block
says that Fleta has been traded to Fuel.
Jesus.
eGamerNews predicts flooded to Dallas View.
Oh,
Post on Reddit.
Oh my god, I can't believe it. What? Make sure you click like, share, and subscribe for more juicy leaks.
All right, so unconfirmed reports: the Los Angeles Valiant is looking for a Korean support player, namely a Lucio player.
R.I.P. Verbo.
Right.
Which is funny because he was tweeting the other night about he's like safe.
You just completely cut out.
Oh, I was saying how Verbo tweeted the other day how he was like, "Oh, Slash say my name, so I guess I'm safe for now."
Yeah. Well, I think. Well, now that tweet kind of makes sense because he went to In and Out, and then Slasher tweeted at him, "Verbo might be going to In and Out soon."
Every time I come back, we're talking about In and Out. This meme will never fucking die, man. It's so good. Can we just appreciate how they ruined a fast food place, like a good fast food place?
Who knows if they'll sign as a sponsor? That'd be great for them locally.
That would be great.
Can
you imagine In and Out trucks out in front of the games? Oh.
So I will always be referring to the farm teams for the Overwatch League as the academy teams, just because that's how they do it in Premier League. I know they have names, like so.
They're the Gladiators Legion.
Yeah, the Gladiators
Travis.
Legion. So Gladiators Academy team, the farm team so the Dallas Fuel has been trying out Gods, who has apparently been playing for the Legion, and they're trying him out on off tank. Leading some people to believe that they will try to make a move before the trade window closes tonight.
Yep.
I can't decide if that would be a great move or not.
I think God's pretty good. He's nothing special, but he's pretty good.
Sure. Well, I mean, it's not like the Dallas Fuel don't really need anything special at off tank right now. They
need
could
an
settle.
off tank.
I was gonna say they could settle for pretty good.
Whoever is playing off tank gets to play Gaguri tomorrow, so like, have fun. Welcome to OWL. Stack.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's an introduction.
It's really hard for me to say if Dallas Fuel will make this move before the window closes, especially since Slasher tweeted about it. We all remember what happened last time when Slasher tweeted about a move that Dallas wanted to make, and
Astro almost fucking tilted his face off the face of the earth.
You gotta think to yourself, did Astro just like about face on that move just to spite Rod?
I feel like he might have. Like, I feel like he might have just to piss off Rod, just be like, you know,
no.
Like, I know that we're dealing with an actual players.
Dude, so what had a prophetic vision that this team would be a complete dumpster fire.
He was like, oh, wait a second.
Out of here.
Nope. Bye.
Oh, let's see.
It's like when Rascal was streaming and Carefree asked him to duo, and everybody in chat said no. And his teammates logged on to tell him don't duo with Carefree.
Damon, is that
He
correct?
did anyway. Yeah, Damon.
Damon from NRG. It's rumored that he's signing with the Shanghai Dragons.
Cool.
I don't know much about Shanghai. I know that whatever player they sign, it's probably a good move. Even if they, if they were to sign Liam off of our staff,
Probably.
Hell yeah.
probably a decent move for Shanghai.
Damon's a Tracer player. They've never had a Tracer, so this is a good move.
So, I mean, there you go. Like, you need a Tracer, as we talked about.
Or not.
Tracers. Like, you gotta have one, so good for them. I mean, I think them making moves, period, shows that they want to get better.
Invested in improving this team.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, gotta give them credit where credit's due.
A for effort for Shanghai.
Yeah. Poor Shanghai.
And then
How does it feel? Hey, Travis and Wyatt, how does it feel knowing that Shanghai is more competently ran than your two teams?
Look, you know what? They have 0 wins, so kiss my wins, bitch.
Kiss my wings.
uh,
Bella!
I don't necessarily
Bella
believe
into
it
the
to be true.
fucking wall.
Until when Shanghai, if Shanghai gets their first win tomorrow over Dallas, then I'll concede that, okay, you know what, this team is being better run.
Well, it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen, dude.
We'll see.
We will indeed.
Choi Hyo Bin, is that how that's pronounced?
I'd imagine.
To the
That-
San Francisco.
That would have been
Show.
my guess.
Yeah,
Yep.
Choi Open. We're all probably butchering it because
Don't look at me, I'm not Korean.
we're all
American people.
we're all Americans here.
I was like, I'm not white.
If any Overwatch
Yeah,
League players happen to be watching and they're upset about this, you can tweet at us.
Why, you heard me think damn white people, and then I before I said it. Stop listening to my thoughts. I don't like it. I
we've
appreciate
been
it.
we've been working together for too long.
All right,
Mhm.
so before we get into our Overwatch League predictions, we'll go back to our buy or sell segment, and we actually have a couple more, and some of these are of my own creation. Some of them are taken, obviously, from questions that the community has and things.
Oh,
like
we
that.
have community suggestions?
I think he means the Overwatch community at large,
Oh.
not like.
Send your suggestions for buy or sell. Hashtag
Yeah, sure.
around the hoot. Send them at one of us. Probably Travis, because he puts the show together.
Okay, so buy or sell. The Fusion will regress to start stage 3.
So
Not all at once.
Wait, is buy or sell? Which one's the believe? Buy?
Buy is believe.
Okay. Yeah, I believe they won't have a hot stage 3 beginning, but they'll probably week 1 won't be great, but they'll quickly build steam. I believe after week 1 they'll be where they were again.
I'm gonna sell on that one. I
Yeah.
think the way that Philadelphia have shown improvement is indicative of a team that can adapt to multiple metas. Not only that, but their coaching staff's pretty good, and EQO can probably play Sombra. So
EQO is suspended for 4 games.
Oh, did they actually announce
Alright.
that officially?
I mean, they said that he's going to be punished, but I believe that is what Philadelphia put forward.
Ah, damn.
Well then,
That changes things a little bit.
that changes a lot.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I buy is because they say punishment is coming down the tubes. Most people at above Reddit level will give it that
Wow.
that demarcation.
People who aren't shitheads and plebs on
Yeah.
Reddit.
So
Yeah, Reddit, we're calling you out. Fuck you. Upload our content.
People above that level, people who have some semblance of a clue about what's going on.
Are you saying Reddit doesn't understand what's going on?
No, I'm not saying that. There are plenty of people on Reddit. I'm just saying that it's people who are not just a face in the mob.
Yeah.
As in people like Rod, people like, unsavory characters that I don't care to name that also have a journalism career.
Looking at you, Joe. Bartle. JK, keep paying me, please.
Okay, so we think that 4 games. I mean, that makes sense on what we said before.
In that case, then maybe I buy.
Yeah, if that's the case, I was gonna say I would, but if that's the case, then I would buy because EQO has been a huge part of that team. Like Snellow's good, but he's not EQO.
Snell also is a tracer player.
Yeah, I was gonna say he has
plays
a
many things.
way more limited hero pool. Like EQO played what, like 7
EQ
Honestly,
doesn't play anything.
different champions or heroes, and they're over the
If
course of
anything, I
Sunday.
think Shadowburn's going to be back, and so they'll have all the old problems that Stage 1 did.
But I was gonna say,
Sure.
this fulfills my prediction that I made at the finals, is that EQO is the Sumail of Overwatch League. And
You did say
Sumail is
that.
also notoriously hated by the Asian community.
Why? Why do people hate Smell?
I don't know. I think it's because when he was in China at DAC for the first time, he was a total dick to most of the Chinese pros on ladder.
That'll do it.
While crushing them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Chinese Dota scene really does not like Sumail.
You remember when Svenskeren, remember Season 4 World or whatever? And Svenskeren was in Taipei, and he named his account Ching Chong Ting, something like that.
Oh my god, young kids playing esports, man. It's
I can't wait until OWL pros go through more sensitivity training. Then we can stop having to
like,
fucking
EQO,
deal with this shit.
EQO, like I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Like he's from Israel. I don't know how well he speaks English. I don't know what the social
Born in
customs-
Colombia, raised in Israel.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know like how the customs are. Like I don't know how much exposure they have to like.
How
The last
are
name-
Israelis racist? Question mark.
I was gonna say the last name Corona is not Jewish.
Sure.
It's nice.
Well, they always on TV or on the broadcast they always call him Israeli or something. They say.
I mean, I think it could be that one parent is
Well, like,
ethnically
yeah.
Jewish.
Could be, yeah.
So,
But
So
either way,
identifies
like,
as
I'll
Israeli?
pretend to know his life.
He's Israeli.
but so who knows? Like how I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but like we don't like who knows? Maybe he really didn't know that like that's a shitty thing to do. But
Honestly, things like this are gonna keep happening just because you have young kids who don't know how to comport themselves under a larger microscope than even NFL and NBA players. Like, they are in front of an audience almost all the time. It would be like if young NBA players walked around always like periscoping whatever the hell they were doing. Eventually they're gonna say something that bites them in the ass.
yep.
It's also just like the internet culture in general. All these people grew up on like Reddit and 4chan and Twitch and all that.
But yeah, look at like XQC literally is Twitch chat, and that was the problem.
I need
Nice
to
try.
make some artwork that has XQC on it that's like, you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, or like, no.
Can we move on?
When you stare too long into the void also stares into you. Because the man has just become memes.
Yeah. Oh god.
All right, so next buy or sell. This one's my favorite. Buy or sell. Flower will play for a team that is not the New York Excelsior in Season 2.
Bye.
So
Because I think that because he's a restricted free agent, while like yes, New York has the option to match, but I think somebody is going to go out there and be like, here's like a ridiculous amount of money, come play for us, and New York is not going to match it.
Yep.
That's what I think, because especially because as far as we know, there's no salary cap, and like we don't know how much these, like we know like reportedly Sinatra got 150K. I could see Flower getting a similar contract, and I don't think New York, especially if New York gets anywhere near the overall Season 1 playoffs, like finals, which I think they probably will. If they don't win, they'll probably be in the finals. Like, you don't need to spend $150,000 for Flower because you'll be fine elsewhere. So I think
can
he's.
also say no.
I mean, sure.
What do
So
you
like I sell this notion completely. I think Flower doesn't want to play for a team that's not as good as the team that he's on. And he has pre-existing synergies with everybody on NYXL.
So
like,
I'll buy, and here's why. So, one, I agree with Wyatt's sentiment about another team is going to come in, and just from a pure perspective of this is what we will be paying you, I think it's stupid, one, not to take the money, and two, I don't think...
Overwatch pros are notorious for being very intelligent about their future.
He's also like 18.
Sure. I think that the New York Excelsior won't match some of the prices, and then the reason that I think that is because we will have 4 new teams coming into Overwatch League, most likely. That is the goal. Blizzard's goal is to bring in 4 new teams, 2 in Europe, 2 in Asia, for the Season 2 expansion teams. And I would think that it is likely that one of those teams, especially if it is a second Korean team, will be interested in taking Flower from the New York Excelsior. And I think that...
What if he signs with Runaway, who gets picked up? Oh my god.
Or he
Oh
has
my god.
Denver
Runaway.
Gladiators.
At the same time, I
The
don't
fantasy booking.
I don't expect New York to be like, yeah, we'll do this. We're gonna take Flower, and then we're gonna either bench or trade Libero. Just because I think that his performance this season, he's more than earned his spot.
Libero's
in that
insanely
lineup.
good. I've been saying it since day one. Libero is a god, right? And he's starting to like really pop off. He's super flexible, can play everything except Tracer, but you have Savioli, so who cares?
Right.
You know? And he can play Mei and Hanzo and all this weird shit, and that's gonna matter, especially after the Mei buffs. I think Mei's gonna be nuts.
Sure.
With the
But
piercing
that's the
damage.
point.
And I know that, esports
AoE
is,
freeze on left click like Lamau.
esports is a little different, but I don't think you trade away a sure thing for something that, you hope works out. We know that Flower is good, but at the same
DeMarcus
time...
Cousins.
All right. So then, buy or sell. The Valiant and the Fuel are not done making moves.
I hope I can buy this.
I buy that in the sense of I'm sure they're trying to make moves. Is the question, will they make moves
Right.
or are they
The question is,
trying?
will something be done by either or both teams before 11:59 Pacific today?
Oh gosh.
Uh,
Sell, honestly. Like I think every other team is in like a relatively good standing point. Even if their record's not good, like there's nothing that the Valiant or the Fuel realistically can offer right now.
Sure.
You know?
Soon.
But like who is soon an upgrade for on an English speaking team?
Fair.
Houston.
Houston. Yeah, that's the only one. And Flame will never sign soon, so
Why do you say that?
because he likes TF2 players and soon doesn't play TF2.
That's fair.
Because he has a hard on for Clockwork, the best tracer in the league. And so they already have their tracer specialist, even though their tracer specialist gets subbed out. Because he's too bad at tracer.
Yeah, you have a Tracer specialist, and yet you still insist on pushing Jake onto the hero.
No, you push
Take
Linkshare.
that.
Linkshare eventually
Take
gets
that.
good at everything.
Because Jake is your one trick pony that you're trying to teach new tricks.
I also sell on this one just because I do think that they are trying. I think both teams are still trying to make moves before the end of the day. The only thing that could derail this is the Gladiators Legion giving up gods or selling him to the Fuel. I don't know if that will happen, but just based off of past experience with both of these teams and the way that things seem to pan out for them in terms of trade talks, it kind of seems like they'll spin their wheels for a couple of hours, and then, unfortunately for them, nothing will come of it.
Unlucky.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're definitely trying to make moves, but at this point, I think if a move was going to be made, we probably would have heard about it already. And I realize that there's still like 7 hours till the deadline. But
Let's refresh Twitter and see what's happening. Oh shit, Ryu.
Is it midnight California time or New York time?
midnight
Yeah,
Pacific.
California time.
Pacific.
Because
That's what I'm saying.
Are.
Yeah, I have to sell this too. Like, just making an announcement even like before the deadline, that's sketchy, but
to
it's
be
very
fair-
questionable.
I was gonna say, to be fair, they don't have to make an announcement before the deadline. It just has to get approved by the league office before the deadline. Because today they made an announcement today, I think, on the Overwatch League website, talking about how today's the last day of the trade window, and I think they haven't announced half of the stuff that the teams have announced yet, and they're like, we'll be announcing things continuing probably into Stage 3. So...
Yeah, well, especially a lot of the stuff they have like on this list is shit that we've known for a while too. So
right.
I think it's just like you said. I mean, it's the same way in regular sports. Like we don't often hear about deals that happen right at the deadline until like the next day or so.
Right.
Because they made a deal, but they still have to work out finer like
Right.
specifics of it and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. I hope they make more moves just because I think this team needs the Valiant needs something else. But yeah,
Hell yeah.
Let's see. And the final buy or sell. Shanghai will get their first win before week 3.
Buy.
Yes.
Big buy.
Helpful buy.
Big buy.
This week against Dallas Fuel.
I'm literally all in.
Not the Los Angeles Valiant. Well, if they beat the Valiant too, I don't care. They beat the Fuel first.
It's not the first win for Shanghai. That's all you want.
I just don't want to be the first, man.
Don't worry, they play Dallas first. They play Dallas first.
It's my only hope.
They play Dallas first. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, they have a really good lineup going into this. I think it'd be hard for them not to get at least one win before week 3, especially with all these like roster changes going on now between Valiant and Dallas. Like there's so many other teams that are looking weaker than on paper, but who knows if they can actually pull it together.
Right.
My problem is wondering if they can actually pull it together, just because isn't Gaguri having to learn Mandarin to communicate with her?
Yeah,
friends?
and she has to learn English too, and that's kind of was the thing that was sticking out to me. She's learned some English. I've seen like pictures of her kind of memeing on players in English, but like memes only go so far in coordinating attacks.
You'll be surprised. Like,
No.
honestly, like if they can meme, they can talk in Overwatch. I don't think coordination is going to be a big issue, particularly because the core of the diving core are all Korean, which is huge. Right?
Yeah.
That is true.
So then it's just like Chinese people keep up. We're going in.
Just follow. Push
Yeah.
means go.
Push means go. That was so embarrassing how the Korean whose second language was English had to teach the English speaking other people like clumps.
I sell on this one just because Shanghai is what 0-20. I have no reason to believe that this is the week that
This is a completely new team. This is completely different.
Sure, it's a completely new team, but I mean,
Undead's not even around anymore, nor Undead's dad.
Undead changed his name. Like that's how removed we are from that.
Diaz, he's not back yet. I don't think.
No, but that's fine. They have 2 Koreans.
Sure, but my point is along the lines of, for all of the times I was wrong about being like, oh, well, Dallas has added these new players. This should finally be the moment where they turn it around. And it definitely wasn't. So I'm not about to place my faith in a team that did worse than Dallas.
But Dallas's roster changes did nothing to solve their fundamental problems, whereas Shanghai solved all of their fundamental problems.
And they have time to practice. Like they got in the last week of stage 2, most of these players? Or all of them?
Yep.
So they had 2 or 3 weeks of practice.
I think it might have been Kaguri, but I know that at least one of them arrived on the day of stage 2 finals.
Yeah,
that's Kaguri.
And then somebody else arrived the next day. So essentially right there at the end of stage 2. So yeah, they've had
practice time.
A good amount of practice time.
They had time to grind ladder too, so they're acclimated. And their coaching staff is actually real and not like Undead's dad. So
to be fair, the coaching staff didn't get there until earlier this week.
It's coaching though. You can do that. You can do some stuff remotely.
I don't know. I have a hard time.
He just doesn't want
it together.
That's what I'm hearing right now.
I mean, if they do, it has to happen eventually.
It will happen. They will grow.
Law of averages.
Yeah. Law of averages, except they're gonna beat Fuel. I think 8 times out of 10. 80% chance Shanghai wins.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm.
Do you
But
think
yeah.
it would be this week they get the win?
Hell
Their
yeah.
first match
Just-
against Dallas?
I'm predicting a 2-0 for Shanghai this week. I think that both teams are playing against are in so much turmoil, and I expect Shanghai to come out flying out of the gate before crashing.
So much turmoil. Like, come on, we're not the Fuel.
Yeah, Wyatt.
I was
We're
gonna
not the.
say, didn't a what? A
Wyatt,
team
do I have
that
to
was
take
on
you out to Burger King?
A team that was on 0-6 skid that was having problems just take Seoul out behind the woodshed.
Yeah,
Seoul,
yeah, yeah. What about that, Noah? What about Seoul goes 0-2 or never goes 0-2?
Until they do.
And they always
I've
win
made
stage
peace with
2.
I've made peace with my mediocre gods. What about you?
I will never make
mediocre
peace.
gods.
Seoul's
I've
still
never-
number 3 in the overall rankings. They're playing the long con. I see what they're doing. They're sandbagging. Intelligent. Great play from Ryu Jae-hong.
I like how he says third place is sandbagging. What the fuck?
It's in terms of in terms of Lunatic High and Seoul Dynasty. Yeah, this is sandbagging.
I mean, although I think if the playoffs had the new updates that they have for stage 3, which we didn't mention yet, for the top 4 teams will make it to the stage 3 playoffs, and the number 1 seed gets to pick their opponent.
New York would not pick Seoul. I'm telling you that right now.
Well, yeah, they wouldn't pick Seoul, and Seoul would have been 4th last time, so they would have been in the playoffs. So they're just there. They're just chilling. They're just like, we just have to finish top of the table. We're good.
All right, so we're moving.
I
on
understand
to
the game plan now.
And then this week and all of the following, we have a new segment to predictions. And so just whenever we get to it, whenever each person talks about it, you'll have a best bet and you'll have an upset watch, which means that your best bet is obviously, it doesn't have to be like, oh, Seoul versus Shanghai, that's my best bet. It doesn't have to be. It's just, your best bet is, if you were going to put money down, this is the match you do it, and this is the team you do it.
So that's our Lord Bet match.
Sort of, yeah. And then your upset watches, obviously, this is what I picked, and you may pick against what your upset is, but it's kind of like, this team is in danger. Like, I picked this team, but they're in danger.
Okay.
All right, so let's go through them. So starting tomorrow, we've got the very
Next
first
one,
match.
Shanghai Dragons versus the Dallas Fuel.
I guess this is so we have all picked the Shanghai Dragons, but our resident Dallas Fuel fan over there, and Travis has picked the Fuel, and we've talked this one. We talked about this a lot, so we know why he thinks they're gonna win. But I think we all see Shanghai getting their first win here. I'm just doing it because I pray to God that the Valiant are not the Dragons' first win. So there's that. And then next we've got the Valiant versus Seoul Dynasty. We're all in agreement here. Seoul Dynasty is probably going to thrash the Valiant because the Valiant are not looking too good. And then we've got, closing out the first day, we've got the San Francisco Shock versus the LA Gladiators. Yeah, the Shock have Sinatra, but the Gladiators are looking pretty good still.
They
So
have Super now, too.
that's true. Yeah. I mean, so yeah, they've got the Shock have both of their big oppositions, but we don't think that's going to be enough for them to beat the Gladiators.
This is a hard choice for me. I originally picked San Francisco.
I think, I don't know, I wouldn't really call this an upset, but this is probably, of the ones, actually, no, I'm going to say that one.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that one. Yeah. But I think this will be a pretty close match, so I don't think it'll be a stop or anything like that. So then, opening up Thursday, we've got Florida versus New York. This should be a pretty easy win for New York because they're New York. And Florida's Florida. They've gotten better.
Hey,
They've gotten better. They've gotten better.
Is here. It's time.
And
The palm
that's
tree
why
will rise.
but
This
not
is why
not.
Noah picked New York Excelsior to win this match.
I was gonna say, I was
I'm
like,
not an idiot.
not against. They might rise, but not against the New York Excelsior. And then next up, we've got Philly versus Boston.
Philly.
Everybody
Actually-
picked Philly except for Liam. Liam picked.
Let me defend on Liam's behalf. I'm from Massachusetts, so
Oh, okay. That convinced
Also,
me.
actually he's from Connecticut, I think. Sorry, Liam. I have no idea where you're from.
Do we think this one changed? So I mean,
All of New England is the same to me.
Travis was already assuming that EQO was gone. Sure. So I guess does no one's opinion change if EQO is in this game or
My opinion
not?
has not changed on this match. I
It is
still
mine.
think Philadelphia takes it to Boston.
I think Boston has a chance if they don't have EQO.
Yeah, if there's no EQO, that's actually kind of huge.
Is this your
Yeah.
upset watch?
I think I think if EQO doesn't play, because Boston looked very good at the end of stage 2 once
Yeah, when they
Domsu was
went
back. So I think that, and then you take out EQO from Philly, who was basically the linchpin of that team throughout the last half, or through all of stage 2, really, especially in the playoffs. This one, if there's no EQO, I think this is definitely one that Boston can pick up.
I think Philly can skate by using Snow on Carpe and then subbing in Shadowburn on the maps that they might have used EQO. I think that I don't think it's a pretty win, but I think that they can get it.
I mean, yeah, I can see Philly doing it. I feel a lot less sure than I did with my initial pick because I insta-locked that one as Philly because I was like, oh, they got this easy. But
Sure.
without
Well,
EQO, it definitely.
Would the map pool make a difference for you guys?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so the first one's Volkaya, second one's Blizzard World, third's Helios.
Blizzard Roll, I forgot
And
we're
fourth.
getting these new maps.
Blizzard
God.
World!
Blizzard
Never
World
stop team fighting. It's just dive.
is
Woohoo!
constant. So, like, I think
That's
Blizzard
my
World definitely
Blizzard World
picks Boston
motion.
there.
This is Blizzard World.
And the last one's Route 66. So, and we all seen how Boston does in Volskaya.
Boston's good at Volskaya.
So
I feel the feeling
they
they're going to
beat
be great at Blizzard World.
Gladiators on Volskaya and ended the playoff hopes in stage 2.
With that map pool, if EQO isn't playing, I predict Boston.
Fair. I'm gonna hold strong on Philly though.
Okay. And then closing out Thursday, we've got London versus Houston. This should be a pretty easy win for London.
This is
Houston.
my best bet.
Yeah, this is.
Houston looks garbage tier at the end of stage 2, with the exception of, bludgeoning Soul, who for some reason, like, to me, the meme is Soul is riding the bicycle with Houston as the stick, and they just stick it through the spokes and fall over and cry about Jake and Junkrat. Because for whatever reason, it's like they beat themselves whenever they play Houston. Like, Houston was not this miraculous team this time around. Like, they got blown out of the water by a lot worse teams and then somehow managed to come up aces against Seoul.
They looked their best in the last week.
That's fair. But
Yeah, I was gonna say, they did look pretty good,
Seoul and
but-
Shanghai.
But London is also just very good. So
London's a very good team.
there's that.
When they
too.
choose to be. They're inconsistent as fuck.
They are, yeah. So, but I think London should be able to take this one. And then looking over to Friday, we've got the Gladiators versus the Dallas Fuel. We were all in agreement this is the one we'll go to the Gladiators because they've been strong, and the Fuel are a dumpster fire, like we talked about a few times.
I'd take
And-
any team that's not Dallas.
And
That's not how
well,
predictions work. No, you're either locked into Philly or you're locked into Boston.
Look at
I-
Noah.
I-
Noah throwing in the little
Dude, you like that
bonfire in
conditional?
there.
Let's go.
There is no conditional. If you are locked into Philly tomorrow at game time, that is.
I don't know who the fuck's playing. I don't know if EQO is suspended.
If
It matters a
anything,
lot.
if
It's
they
like
announce it
locking in a
before,
fantasy lineup. You don't know that LaDainian Tomlinson's gonna play. You just gotta believe or you gotta bench him.
I don't know that, but I know LaDainian Tomlinson was racist on stream. I just don't know when this shit can happen.
I'm
LaDainian
making this
Tomlinson,
match my
why you
pick.
said racist on stream? Come on our show and talk about it.
Yeah,
Yes,
we'll have
let's
a
have a
segment for
guess.
you guys.
Let's get it. Why Are You Racist? That'll be our new segment. If we had a variety show, I feel like we could have so much material because so many people keep doing dumb
It's
shit.
like it's that show. It's a segment. Come on, man! But it's just
Yeah.
with Christiaan.
I like that name.
Ed Lover, come on, son. Come on, son.
We would just name it "Come On, Bruh," and then just put the emote as like our like intro title. Be like, "Come on, bruh," and then just talk about how dumb people are on stream. And next match we've got the Valiant versus the Dragons. 4 of us went with the Valiant. Noah, I will have you know, he picked the Dragons, but he did not pick until Liam picked, and then he just bandwagon picked on the Dragons. He didn't make the pick himself though.
And this is where I throw my commanding lead, but I like Shanghai.
Liam is
His commanding lead that doesn't
Dragons
exist because me and him are tied.
fan
To be
for some
fair.
reason.
I was going to make this my upset watch.
This guy. Wait, where is he in relation to? Oh, let me check the stream.
He's
Well,
across-
you're
he's-
below me.
He's that way.
This guy.
Wyatt is below
Yeah.
Christian.
Sure, this guy
On my
understands.
side.
This guy gets it. The thing I like about Shanghai here is that they are a cohesive team that's been practicing together, whereas the Valiant's roster will be finalized by the end of the fucking night. And then they have like a bit of practice before bang, Overwatch lead time.
Okay, well, see, we don't know that. Wait, were there any moves made today?
No.
No, right? So they might know that they're done. So their roster could have been finalized by yesterday, but we just don't know.
I was gonna say.
All right, 2 days practice versus a week and a half.
I was gonna
And all
say,
they did was add one person. The rest of the team's the same.
Add a completely new
Oh,
shot
they
caller,
added two
and they
people.
dropped
They
their
added
best
two people.
player. Are you serious?
Well, you know what?
And they added Bunny, so they have to have a tracer board to determine which tracer they're playing.
Whatever.
And they have still support issues, and they're still the Valiant. Come on, Wyatt.
The Soul lost to Outlaws. Shut up.
Yeah, that doesn't make you
Oh,
right. That
That's
just
all.
makes me-
That's all I had.
Wait,
Whatever.
That doesn't make you right. That just hurts my feelings.
That's all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to cut you down.
To be
Yeah, I feel you.
fair, the Valiant could have known long before we did what their finalized roster was going to be, just because they know about the trade long before we do.
But don't
Therefore,
they,
by the time that they announce it, it's likely that the player has already been practicing with the team.
The two most
Right,
important
I was
roles
gonna
in
say.
Overwatch right now are flex tank and flex support, and they just lost both of their starters for the last 2 months. It will matter. It will be a close series, but I think Shanghai will pull it out because I believe in Gaguri, and I believe in Addo and Fearless, and I believe in whoever else, whatever Chinese people are starting for this.
Although I will say
I
that
don't think Sky's
if-
Oh,
if the
fuck.
Dragons beat Dallas, I won't care about this game. But if Dallas wins, then I will be all invested in this game. I will cheer as if the Valiant are playing in the finals, and this is like a crazy matchup between like 2 really good teams and not two bad teams.
two bad teams for now.
Sure, yeah, that's true. So after that match, we got Seoul versus San Francisco,
Yep.
and what should be another easy win for Seoul.
Easy win.
I think this is probably like my best bet because if you're gonna bet, this is betting on Seoul in this matchup. I think is probably one of your best bets because I just don't think that.
My best bet was Valiant versus Seoul. I think that San Francisco will put up a better fight than Valiant.
Man, you
I'm not trying to shit on you. I'm
No, I know.
I was gonna say,
I'm just being a sensitive fan.
I concur with
I'm
Noah's
not trying to hurt your
assessment.
feelings, homie.
Whatever.
It's not like fuck you and your cat. Like, you know?
Why you gotta bring the cat into this?
I'm just making an example of stuff that I would not say.
Never
And
talk about
then-
son ever again.
His cat's awesome. Why is
Next
that-
time you get to sleep on the couch, Travis gets the bedroom.
Yeah, hell yeah. That couch is comfy.
So, and then closing out the week, we've got Philadelphia versus Florida.
This
and
is my
another one.
upset Watch.
So yeah, we have picked Philadelphia
Agreed.
for this one.
I agreed. It's my upset watch too.
Yeah,
I picked
And-
Philly when I thought EQO was starting. If EQO is not starting, I think Florida wins.
I agree. Yeah,
I don't-
all of
I'm
this.
taking
Yeah,
it
I was
back.
assuming EQO was it for all of this.
I own this document. I can see if you make changes past game time on Wednesday.
That's true.
I'll know whether he's starting before game time, so
That's
no
fair.
need to worry.
Wait, we don't have to lock picks until before the game, right? Just like a
No.
fantasy.
Oh no, I've been locking it at the start of the week.
Yeah,
Start of the week?
It's
Okay.
locked in on
That's what
Wednesday
I've been
again.
doing.
Okay,
too.
that's fine. That's fine. We'll
Like a
know.
man.
We'll know. Or actually, we may not know about EQO. No, we should know before Thursday.
We better know.
I
We
was gonna
better
say,
know.
we should
He could
know
be in
that we
permanent,
know,
like,
yeah, by within 24 hours we should know.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
within
yeah.
24 hours you have heard nothing, I would assume that he will start and that the punishment was either internal or a fine.
Yeah, exactly.
It
And we'll
seems-
find out about the fine. Like
It seems
later.
uncharacteristic of Blizzard not to announce when they're
$4,000
punishing
fine.
someone.
Although they didn't say that like the Fusion said they were gonna do it. Blizzard hasn't said anything.
Yeah, but Blizzard also has overstepped their bounds on more than one occasion. But hey, maybe they're turning over a new leaf. And if they do,
I bet
love
you
it.
Blizzard doesn't touch this one.
Good.
We'll see, but I don't think they touch this one.
I picked Florida over Philly. This is still my upset watch. Florida's taking this.
Why do you think Florida's taking it? I agree. If EQO is in play.
Just because they finally have their new additions, and they were looking pretty sharp before they got
Say
their
his
new
name.
additions.
Say his name, Travis. Say his name, Travis.
Say a player.
Saya player.
Saya player, the big player, the playmaker. This guy's fucking nutty. And Logix is also good, so they can run double hit scan now. PogChamp.
So I'm excited to see this matchup, and I think that it'll be just different enough from what a lot of teams Philly comes up against. And I believe Philadelphia had a somewhat difficult time with Florida this past stage, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Maybe.
I can check.
I'm not gonna lie, I like blank.
No,
out what you said.
Philly forward them.
Was that week one?
Oh yeah. Philly forward.
It was stage 2, week 1. Yeah, they
Yeah.
forwarded.
Stage 1, week 5, Philly 3-2'd, and then they 4-0'd immediately after. Once EQO.
And that was once EQO's game. Yeah.
Right.
I just don't believe in McDonald's. I don't believe in the
Uh,
McDonald's team.
Did you see their April Fool's joke?
I did. They
I
That
oh,
was cruel.
I was
Joke's on
so
you.
sad.
Oh yeah, the
I was
jersey.
so
Yeah.
heartbroken.
joke's on you. We could have good team colors. Yeah, the joke's on us, Florida, isn't it?
Like that color scheme is like my. You can't tell it because it's based on what you see of my room and my clothes. But like that's my aesthetic and everything. Like go check my Twitter.
I was gonna say, go
my
look at his
profile
Twitter,
pictures of
you'll
those
see it.
colors. My fucking banner. Those I'm about that. And then they're doing it. I'm like, and I messaged Tagny, the guy who made the Vice jerseys. I'm like, yo, what's happening, bro?
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. I said, and I just put it on the tweet. I added it, and I'm like, I'm so sorry this is April Fool's. And he's like, it better not be. And then it was a troll. And I'm like, no.
That's awful.
I was
And
tempted
then
to
they
stop
make them
covering
post
Florida
about
right there.
Fuck
Like,
you guys.
When literally everybody is asking you to do it, and you make an April Fool's joke about it, like, fuck you. Come on, bro.
They're just playing themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Hurt yourself.
I'm gonna have to take. I'm gonna have to take him to McDonald's.
Oh my god. No, what did that fucking mean?
I'm gonna shoehorn it in all the time.
Boston versus Houston is next. Christian, you've chosen Houston. Care to explain
Yeah.
why?
Oh, jeez, that's aggressive. I don't know. I'm still on the fence about Boston. Like they're okay, and I think
It's just because he's from New York and he hates Boston.
If that's
You
your
can-
reason, that's
You can
fine.
say it.
But like, if you actually
Boston's
have a
gonna
reason,
take Houston. Boston's gonna take Houston to Carl's Jr.
Jesus.
I think we only have like one of those in New
I was
York.
gonna say, wouldn't it be like Hardee's or something?
It is
Maybe.
Hardee's
Well,
on
they're
the
the
East
same,
Coast.
aren't they?
They are the same, but the branding is different. On the East Coast,
Yeah, on
it
the
is
East Coast
Hardee's.
they call it
In
Hardee's.
the Midwest and the West Coast, it is Carl's Jr.
All right, they'll take him out to Whataburger. There we go.
We don't have
Whataburger
those
is
either.
Texas only.
That's a Texas thing. I know Texas things, Christian. I have an approximate knowledge of many things about Texas.
I mean, I thought Christian was gonna come out with some serious sage-like wisdom about how
Well,
He's just like,
destroy
I don't know.
Boston.
Boston is like, Boston.
Honestly, that's kind of fair. But like, I think Boston will adapt well to the new patch. It's significantly different, and it rewards Tracer and Dive.
If this was Boston before Gamsu came back,
Oh
I
yeah.
would agree. But with Gamsu back, I feel like they're good.
And then we have to wait till the last day of week 1 for the best game of week 1, which is New York versus London, which everybody but Steven has picked.
Steven has picked himself inexplicably. He is going to go on stage in 1v10. All the people there.
Steven.
12. 1v12.
Steven will eventually put his actual thing down. But
if you're watching the show, Steven, please go put your prediction in for New York versus London.
Every time you leave it blank, I just write your name.
Otherwise,
everybody
thinks
thinks,
New York.
yeah.
To be fair, I think London's the one team that can like consistently beat New York, but I do not think they'll take it here.
They're also the most inconsistent top team.
Yeah, exactly.
And they already lost to New York last.
I also think Libero will be able to adapt to the new patch better than Burger Gasco.
So
we're not getting the full summer patch, right?
No, we are, but we're getting the hotfix as well.
Yeah,
That's not impressive, but still, like,
that's the one.
Libero will make it work. I believe in Libero.
So the map pool for this one is Temple of Anubis, Blizzard World, Nepal, and Junkertown.
Jesus.
Temple of Anubis is going to be the
Christ.
really scary one.
Jesus.
Temple of Anubis and Blizzard World.
Temple, I think, is Libero's playground. J-Town can go fuck itself.
And Junkertown? Oh my lord.
I'm excited.
Blizzard World and Junkertown being in the same rotation, I think.
Libero is gonna pop on Blizzard. No, I am fine with Blizzard World, honestly. I like the map.
No, I'm saying, but having Blizzard World and Junkertown in the same, like, because
it's got completely.
they're paired together, like, that's ugh.
Remember when Temple of Anubis people consider the worst map? And now it's
I always love
And
it.
then Junkertown
And
was
everybody
like,
who
oh
says,
my
I hate Temple of Anubis, they're the same idiots who sit at the choke and don't hit W. Just like, hold fucking W, morons. What you're doing. There are 3 directions. Pick one and go.
The first joke?
No, attacking B. They're just trying to enter the temple itself.
Oh, I mean, I hate attacking point B, but I mean,
I love attacking point B. It's a puzzle. It's a fucking puzzle, dude. Once you solve it, it's a big puck jam. Also, every character is good on Temple of Anubis.
That's true.
Yeah, you can actually see Reaper and May on it sometimes.
You see Reaper, you see May, you see Doomfist, you see Junkrat, you see Widow, you can see Hanzo. Hanzo's actually like pretty good. You can play any attacking hero on that map.
Except Torvald.
You can play any tank hero.
Competitive
You can
Torvald.
literally play anything
One
you
day.
want on this map. You can even play Sim and it doesn't. Okay, maybe that's too far.
I do think this game will go to overtime.
No.
100%. 5 games.
No.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be a close one.
What's the poll for that?
Wrong.
Oh, you just said it.
3-1. It's gonna go 3-1. I don't feel like London will have a good read on the Blizzard World meta. New York will.
I predict London to win Anubis and Nepal, and then I predict New York to win the shit maps.
The kooky maps. What's tiebreaker? You think it'll be
Oasis?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oasis?
Well, Ilios is in the map pool.
I'm thinking either. Yeah, so it's either Oasis.
Isn't it?
Or Lijiang. Well, they already did Lijiang, so I guess it would be Oasis.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm cool with that.
I guess we'll find out.
We will find out.
But I think that is going to do it for us this week. We've been through quite a bit, and now that we're on Tuesdays, because if we were still on Wednesdays, we would have had to end half, so we would have missed like half of the show. So
you got so much extra content.
We can go through all of the news. We can actually give our full opinions on stuff and go through predictions and all that good fun content. So
it's good. It's pull up a chair and eat your dinner, like I am.
Exactly. But like Travis alluded to as well, we have switched kind of our coverage system. We've got our writers are covering specific teams. So we'll be having hopefully some new content coming out as the week goes on. I think Noah Say is going to be doing a preview on one of his teams. I'll probably be doing something on the Valiant later this week once they finish up week 1 and Noah Winston has his talk or his AMA on Reddit. I'll probably try and sort through what's going on with his team. But stuff like that you can count on coming pretty soon. So more than just our predictions and our power rankings, we're going to have some actual good meaty content for you guys to sink your teeth into. So definitely look out for that, both on our Twitter at eGamerNews and on the website eGamerNews.com.
This is the Blizzard World dance. You just do this.
as we go out, we'll just all
Lights,
dance our way out of here.
Lights, Duskwood, Snack Ramen.
Snack?
Ramen.
There you go. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for us. Clearly, me and Noah have been on this podcast.
Lost our damn minds.
We've been podcasting for too long today, and we've lost.
We
That's
need
gonna
to
do it.
fucking leave.
So we will catch you guys next week, next Tuesday at the same time, starting with Fiesta Watch at 6 p.m. Eastern. Have a great week. And we'll catch you guys.
We're watching a Fiesta right now.
Bye, guys.